When does an outbreak become a pandemic? An outbreak is a sudden rise in the incidence of a disease, and typically is confined to a localized area or a specific group of people. Should an outbreak become more severe and less localized, it may be characterized as an epidemic. If it broadens still further and affects a significant portion of the population, the disease may be characterized as a pandemic. Smallpox, 3rd century BC to 1980. An estimated 300 to 500 million deaths in the 20th century alone, with a death rate of 20 to 60% of those infected. The last natural case was in October 1977 in Somalia. The last fatal laboratory-acquired case occurred in 1978. The bubonic plague, or better known as the Black Death, 1346 to 1353. A plague pandemic that killed an estimated 75 to 200 million people across Europe, Asia, and North Africa, reducing the world population by up to 100 million. The plague caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis still exists worldwide, with a few thousand cases reported annually, including roughly 7 cases per year in the United States. New World smallpox, European conquest, 1520s and onward. An outbreak that decimated the indigenous populations of the Americas, causing up to 56 million deaths, 90% of the indigenous population. Spanish flu, 1918 to 1920. An H1N1 influenza pandemic that infected 500 million people, with deaths estimated between 25 and 100 million. Plague of Justinian, 541 to 549, the first recorded bubonic plague outbreak, killing an estimated 15 to 100 million in the Byzantine Empire and the Mediterranean. HIV, AIDS, 1981 to present. Ongoing pandemic that has resulted in an estimated 27 to 48 million deaths, with 36.3 million cited in some reports. Third plague pandemic, 1855 to 1960. That's over 100 years. Began in China and spread worldwide, with roughly 12 to 15 million deaths, mostly in India. Kokolitsky epidemic, 1545 to 1548, a mysterious fever-bleeding illness in Mexico, suspected to be salmonella, that killed 5 to 15 million people. Antonian plague, 165 to 180 AD, possibly smallpox or measles. This outbreak killed up to 5 to 10 million people in the Roman Empire. Cholera, 1817 to present. 7 distinct cholera pandemics over the last 2 centuries have killed over 1 million people. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th pandemics were particularly deadly. Russian flu, 1889 to 1890. An influenza pandemic, possibly H3N8 or H2N2, that resulted in around 1 million deaths. The Asian flu, 1957 to 1958, H2N2 influenza outbreak that started in China and killed between 1 to 4 million people. Hong Kong flu, 1968 to 1969, H3N2 influenza strain that resulted in approximately 1 to 4 million deaths. Russian typhus epidemic, 1918 to 1922. A typhus epidemic during the Russian Civil War that caused an estimated 2 to 3 million deaths. Naples plague, 1656 to 1658. A severe plague outbreak in Italy that killed roughly 1.25 million people. Italian plague, 1629 to 1631. Bubonic plague outbreaks that ravaged northern and central Italy, causing about 1 million deaths. What all pandemics have in common. Zoonotic origins. Animal to human transmissions. Most major pandemics originated from pathogens that jumped from animals to humans, often due to increased contact through hunting, farming, and trading. Rapid global spread via trade and travel. Increased human mobility, ranging from ancient trade routes, the good old Silk Road, to modern air travel, has facilitated the rapid worldwide transmission of pathogens. Novelty to the human immune system. The pathogens were often new to humans, meaning the population had little to no pre-existing immunity, leading to high attack rates. Exploitation of urbanization and density. Densely populated cities, poor sanitation, and overcrowded conditions have acted as hotbeds for the rapid spread of infections like plagues, cholera, and influenza. High mortality rates and societal disruptions. These outbreaks caused massive population declines, overwhelmed healthcare systems, or their historical equivalents, and led to severe economic and political consequences. Viral or bacterial causes. The majority of these devastating pandemics were caused by pathogens, specifically viruses like influenza and COVID-19, or bacteria like Yersinia pestis for plague, Vibrio cholera for cholera. Initial lack of understanding or preparedness. Historical pandemics were frequently marked by a lack of initial knowledge regarding the pathogen spread, leading to inadequate or delayed response. Major differences between pandemics. The pandemics mentioned differ in several critical aspects. Pathogen type. The deadliest pandemics were bacterial, like bubonic, or viral, influenza, H1V, SARS, or COVID-2. Most mode of transmission. Vector-borne. Plagues were spread by fleas on rats. Contaminated water. Cholera was transmitted through water, food. Respiratory droplets. Influenza and COVID-19 are respiratory-based illnesses. Blood sexual contact. HIV/AIDS is bloodborne. Vulnerability and mortality. Immunological nativity. Smallpox in the New World was devastating because the population had zero prior exposure. Age targets. The 1918 flu uniquely killed young adults, while COVID-19 mainly targeted the elderly. Speed of spread. Modern pandemics like COVID-19 spread globally in weeks due to air travel, whereas the Black Death took years to traverse Europe. Medical response. Earlier plagues had no known treatments, while COVID-19 saw the rapid development of vaccines within a year. Societal impact. The Black Death and Cocolepsy outbreaks destroyed, respectively, European feudalism and indigenous American civilizations. Key takeaways on differences. Pathogens. Plagues, bacterial, tend to have higher case of fatality rates, up to 100%, while influenza pandemics, viral, have lower mortality rates but infected a much higher percentage of the global population. Origin. Zootologic transmission, from animals to humans, is a common thread in modern pandemics like Ebola, HIV, and COVID-19. Prevention. The evolution of public health, from quarantine in 1347 to sanitation for cholera and vaccines for influenza, has drastically changed the mortality trajectory of those with the disease.